I do like this for both teams. I think, again, smart by the Jets. They're not going anywhere, rebuild. And Indy's, they did need some help with rushing the passer, but a huge need was in the defensive backfield. And Sauce Gardner, who hasn't had a great season, I think he's going to play much better in Indianapolis. I think there's obviously fewer distractions, and now you're going to a team that's going to make the playoffs at least, and has a chance to win, get to the Super Bowl, they believe. So I think he's going to play much better than he has. I like their mentality of, we going for it. And we got the running back, we got the offense, let's strengthen the defense, let's go for it. All that said,
thank you.
The question remains, Danny Dimes.
Of course.
That question remains. Now, I will give him this. He did play well in a playoff game.
Yes.
One of his two, he played really well. So we don't know that he'll melt. But going into the playoffs, the defense can be great. Taylor can be great. They can be scoring points. But we all are going to say, what is Daniel Jones going to do? But
listen,
great move, though.
So it is. I think this is an A-plus job by the Jets. I don't know if Sauce Gardner is just going to instantly recapture the player he was year one and year two. Because last year he wasn't that good, and this year hasn't been that good. Now, he was a blue-chip prospect. He was so good his first 2 years. He hasn't suffered some post-injury. He's a different. So I think he's an excellent player. I can't say I know he's an excellent player, but I think he's really, really good. I think if you're the Jets, this is brilliant. And recognizing that, first of all, we hired a defensive coach. The idea is he can maybe do a little more with less, and we need to retool so much, and we need to have a lot of optionality in this year's draft and next year's draft. And I look at A.D. Mitchell as more than a throw-in. A.D. Mitchell, he's only famous because he dropped the ball against the Rams. But he was a top 60 pick 1 year ago. And so he has been underwhelming, but the Colts kind of have a deep receiving core. They don't have like an A-plus player, but they have a deep receiving core he couldn't quite break through on. So I think for the Jets, this is great. I think for Daniel Jones' future employment, this is unbelievable. Because this is the strongest vote of confidence a player can receive, because what the Colts are saying is, we're not going to be in the quarterback market anytime soon. Every team that has made a move like this has believed, rightly or wrongly, very often wrongly, we're set at quarterback. Here are the last decade of guys to go for multiple first-round picks. 2018, the Bears traded 2 firsts for Khalil Mack. That was a year after they spent the number 2 pick on Mitch Trubisky. They're like, we are set there. The Texans traded 2 firsts for Laramie Tunsil. That was 2 years after they had traded for Deshaun Watson. We're set there. The Rams traded 2 firsts for Jalen Ramsey. That was months removed from going to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. They thought they were set there. They ended up not being, but they thought they were.
Worked out.
The Seahawks traded 2 firsts for Jamal Adams in one of the worst trades that franchise ever made, but they had Russ. They thought we're set there long term. Obviously, the Packers doing with Micah believe that we're set there. Nobody does this if they think, oh man, but we might need to draft a quarterback soon. And so this is a huge vote of confidence in Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and it's okay to have that huge confidence in Daniel Jones. Just because you doubt Daniel Jones, just because you don't think Daniel Jones is good enough, this is why you hired and paid Shane Steichen all the money that you did. And you recognize that Shane Steichen has now coached a lot of different quarterbacks. He's coached Justin Herbert. He's coached Jalen Hurts. He literally coached Jalen Hurts in a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's coached AR. He's coached Gardner Minshew. He's coached AR. He's coached Daniel Jones. And this is the move that he's making. And you either trust it or you don't. And now we're saying, oh, maybe Daniel Jones will melt down. Dude, Daniel Jones played for a bad team and a bad franchise. And now he's with a good team and a good franchise and a great coach, and he's having insane success. Did he have a bad game against the Steelers? Absolutely. Congratulations. So did Patrick Mahomes against the Buffalo Bills. It happens. Every single quarterback has an awful game. Congratulations. It just is what it is. And now we're saying, he had a good game in the playoffs. He was elite in that playoff win like, we're going to reduce what Daniel Jones did in that game. This was against the Minnesota Vikings. The Giants, by the way, were 9-7-1. The Minnesota Vikings were 13-4. Okay, a top team in the NFL. They were I think they had tied for the second best record in the NFL as a whole. Memory serves me correctly. Okay, Daniel Jones, 24 for 35, 301 yards, 8.6 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, only 3 sacks, and a 114.1 passer rating. Since a lot of people recently have been talking about QBR, which I don't really ever focus on, 82.5, which is ridiculously high. And he was the leading rusher, 17 carries for 78 yards. Saquon Barkley was 9 for 53. Saquon obviously had an impact, don't get me wrong, but like Daniel Jones was still the force of that offense. 17 carries, 78 yards. That was his first ever playoff. That was his first ever playoff game on the road. Minnesota, a tough team, obviously. Boom. We got to be able to give credit for that. I mean, come on now. And it's not like Kirk Cousins laid an egg, right? He was 31 for 39. It's not like one of those games where it's like, well, Kirk Cousins had 3 interceptions and a fumble, right? It wasn't that type of game either. 31 for 39, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, an 86.1 QBR, and a 112.9 passer rating. You know, they couldn't run the ball very well. But that's because Daniel Jones took over the brunt of it. So, yeah, listen. It's a rich move. Now, the thing about Sauce Gardner, and I don't have a strong feeling about this one way or the other. I'm not a scout. This is not where my expertise lies. But I heard the argument, and it's an interesting argument, that Sauce Gardner, when he was able to be a lot more physical, the way how the refs were calling the games, how they were officiated, when he was able to be a lot more physical and get away with more, that's when he was able to really be elite and special. And then as they kind of started changing the way how some of these things were officiated, and don't allow the physicality to be as, forward-facing, Sauce Gardner has now declined in that regard. Again, I have no strong feelings on that. That's not where, it's just not where my personal skill set lies. So I think it's an interesting observation. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying I don't know. Honestly, I think it's always a little bit difficult to shine when you're on a terrible team defensively. You can shine offensively on a terrible team as long as you have like a quarterback who can at least somewhat throw you the ball, or an O-line that somewhat allows you to make some moves. But defensively, when you're consistently on a bad team, when you're consistently in this like weird situation, you don't know who the quarterback is, you do have a quarterback and he's not playing well, you have a fired coach, like all this type of stuff. I think defensively, it's just such an effort position that when you have turmoil, when you have distractions, when you have just weird things happening, it's just, I don't know, it just becomes hard. And now he does have something to play with the Colts, and I respect the Colts taking the swing. I really do. I respect them taking the swing and saying, we can win here. We can go for it. We can beat the Chiefs. We can beat the Patriots, right? We can beat the Bills. I respect that. And it's exciting. And it always feels uncomfortable giving up draft, 2 first rounds, right? Like that always sounds like, oh my gosh, what did we just do? I want those draft picks. Those draft picks can be important, blah, 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 blah. Like there's always an uncomfortableness about it. The Eagles are winning Super Bowls right now, and the Chiefs winning Super Bowls. If they traded 2 first round picks, you'd be like, I don't know, maybe just wait, maybe just draft someone. Like it's always uncomfortable. Always. You got Patrick Mahomes, you're set at quarterback position. Trading 2 first round picks still feels uncomfortable, even though it's at the bottom, even though it's often going to be 29, 31, 32, whatever. Like it's still uncomfortable. It's still all, for me at least. Like I'm conservative by nature with this type of stuff. I like to be aggressive. I like to be assertive in a lot of other situations, but when it comes to like trading draft capital, paying players lots of money, I'm always like, I don't know, I'm such a wait and see type of person. And I'm also very much seduced by the whole, door number 1, door number 2. And it's always like 2 first round picks. Like, what could this be? This could be something pretty special. Makes me think of the Family Guy sketch where it's like, a boat is a boat, but a mystery box can be anything. It could even be a boat. And like, that's what I always think of. And that's how I feel about this. I'm like, 2 first round picks. Like, I don't know, man. Like, what could you have done with that? And like, so it's I'm never comfortable with these types of situations, with these types of conversations. I'm just not. I just made the Dallas Cowboys video, and I'm like, I kind of gave a somewhat similar take, albeit different, because the teams they have a different trajectory right now. But I think if you're a Colts fan, that's what I look at it too, with these types of moves. If you're a Colts fan right now, it's like you've been nowhere for so long and you got nothing, and now you actually have something going. You have an offense that's been elite. You have a defense that's been good enough to, it hasn't been this massive liability like the Bengals or something. And like, you feel for the first time in forever that like we can do something. We got the coach, we got the team, we got the quarterback, we got the random, and I just mean like, elite weapon of Jonathan Taylor, right? Like you got the workhorses, you got it. Now you're trying to build out that defense even more to make some big plays, to now make things even easier for what's been an elite offense and a quarterback who's been playing out of his mind. We keep saying meltdowns, and we love to reduce what Daniel Jones is doing, and I just don't see it that way. And clearly neither does Shane Steichen. And, that's where I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to trust Shane Steichen. Shane's, because he has to have enough pull with this team right now to be able to be like, this is how we want to move forward. Like, I am comfortable doing this. Like, I don't think they're going to make a lot of these decisions without at least like discussing it with Shane. And so, yeah, I think at the very least, like, fans should feel excited, motivated, inspired, and saying, all right, man, like we're legitimate contenders right now. Like we are going for it. Doesn't mean you're gonna win. Doesn't mean you're gonna win the Super Bowl. Doesn't mean that Daniel Jones is gonna be the MVP of the Super Bowl or Jonathan Taylor. Like, doesn't mean anything is not, that this is all going to work out. The Rams took a massive swing with Stafford and that whole thing. And they ended up winning the Super Bowl by like the finest of all margins. They could have lost to the I think it was the Bucks. They could have definitely lost to the Bengals. Who knows if they played the Chiefs? It's like it's always a fine margin, man. It's always, you never know, and that's why I will always tip my hat to teams that take big swings, right? You're making a move. You're doing everything you can to get over that hump. And people always want to talk about planning for the future and this or that, and it's just like, there's not always a future. We always talk about this Super Bowl window, and it's just like, sometimes you just got to go for it right now, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters, and trust that you'll be able to navigate any of the decisions down the road. So, I'm excited for it. Don't know if it's going to work. Don't know if it's the worst move or the best move, but I'm excited for it. It's a move, and I appreciate it. I respect it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Sauce Gardner and the Indianapolis Colts? How do you feel about this vote of confidence behind Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen? Like, this is, again, make no mistake about it, this is tied to Shane Steichen as well. I promise you that. Coaches, especially offensive coaches, they are tied to their quarterback. They are tied. Make no mistake about it. Especially when you're having like not new ownership, but obviously not the same situation that the Colts had been in, where you're going to have an owner who can just be like, I'm doing whatever the heck I want, right? Like, this is going to be a lot more of a seemingly, reportedly collaborative decision. So I'm ready for it. I like it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.